Greetings and welcome to yet another ranking video. Today is a short ranking as there are only 3 films in this series, but in my opinion 3 is far too many. Today I rank the Dracula 2000 trilogy from worst to best, but I use the term best loosely. Now, I'd watched Dracula 2000 many times, but it wasn't until 2017 I realized it was a trilogy, and now I find myself ranking them because, well, why not? So let's get into it. In third place is Dracula 3 Legacy. Released in 2005, it is the third film in the Dracula 2000 trilogy, directed by Patrick and written by Lucio and Joel Soisson. In the near future, Uffizi and Luke travel to the remote reaches of war-torn Romania to rescue Elizabeth and finish the vampire once and for all. Along the way, they encounter TV news journalists and a corps of rebels trying to fight the vampire uprising which plagues their country. How did this get made? Like, how did any of these sequels get made? And how can you call something Dracula and not have Dracula even in it until the last 10 to 20 minutes? I put these films on my October marathon list in 2018, so I could say I've watched them, but boy do I regret it. Still do to this day, almost 3 years later, I still regret it. I love Jason Scott Lee, but god damn, you could put Meryl Streep and Gary Oldman in this and it would still be shit. I mean, what was this? No. Now, Rutger Hauer, I'm terrible with saying his name, so I'm sorry if I'm still butchering it, is no stranger to playing vampires. He does it more than you think, and if he's not a vampire, he's at least in a film about them. But even he couldn't do anything to amp up this film. Like I said, it's a film called Dracula, and the title character doesn't even appear till the very end of the film. That's like having an Iron Man film, and Iron Man doesn't show up until the very end. It makes no sense. Some critics claim this was a mild improvement on the second film, but I have to strongly disagree. In second place is Dracula 2 Ascension. I know, this is an original ranking. Haha. Released in 2003 and directed by Patrick and written by Lucio and Joel Soisson, it is the sequel to Dracula 2000 and follows a group of medical students who come across the body of the world's most notorious vampire, Dracula. If you hate Dracula 2000 and you're wondering how you make Dracula 2000 look like a decent film, you make a sequel that's worse and contradicts the first film in every single way. Bright side is, I learned some new things about vampire lore that I never knew before. I also learned it is possible to make really shitty movies even shittier. Deserves an award on that triumph alone. Won't be watching this one again ever. In each film, Dracula is played by a different actor. This film claims that Dracula's regenerative abilities mean he has a new face every time the old one or old body is destroyed. I know we're dealing with mythological beings here, but that doesn't make any sense. How can your cells regenerating create an entirely new person? That's not regenerating, that's complete cellular transformation. Now, I know Dracula is meant to be able to take many forms, but we're basically saying in this film, he has no control over this part of his being. Not only did Dracula 2000 not need a sequel because the way it ended was perfect and made a lot of sense, the fact this film decided to do a pointless sequel and then ignore everything created with the first film just pisses me off. I can understand why this is the worst of the 3 for a lot of people, but I mean, to its credit, at least this one had Dracula in it. And in first place, originally, is Dracula 2000, the best of a bad bunch. Released in 2000, it's directed by Patrick and a screenplay by Joel Soisson, Scott Derrickson, Aaron Kruger, and Paul Harris Boardman from a story by Lucio and Soisson. Building upon Bram Stoker's original 1897 novel Dracula, it sees Dracula unleashed on an unsuspecting New Orleans in the 21st century where he seeks out Mary Heller, a descendant of Abraham Van Helsing. After my first, second, and even third viewing of the film, I thought it was one of the dumbest depictions of the Dracula tale. Making Dracula Judas Iscariot is insane. He hates the cross because Jesus died on it because of him. He hates silver because he sold out Jesus for silver. This is all a fucking reach. Van Helsing had him locked away for 200 years and you're telling me of all the methods he tried to kill him, he never tried hanging him. What a crock! Just gotta kill him by hanging him at sunrise. Easy as! This entire film is a joke. Jared Butler is without a doubt one of the worst versions of Dracula I've ever seen. His performance in general is just goddamn awful. 21 years ago when I first watched this, I asked myself, Dracula is Judas? Then at 27 I asked, did he kill Lucy before or after climax? Because if it's before, that's even more selfish than human, guys. The film is awful and at times laughable, but my opinions over the last couple of years have softened a fraction. Yes, this is a bad film, I'm not saying it's not, but as it turns out, the ologists have studied for many, many years believing that Judas was in fact the original incarnation of Dracula, with stories and depictions morphing over the years depending on culture, kind of like Chinese whispers. On top of that, I look at all the films out there recycling the same old stuff over and over and over again, and then I take another look at this film and find myself appreciating it. It dared to do something no one else was doing. It dared to change up the mythology of an iconic character, and it had done enough research to know that in real life there is a basis for the belief that Dracula was Judas. So looking at all that, I kind of admire this terrible film. Maybe with a better script it could have been something so much greater, but there is potential hidden underneath the overwhelming aughts tropes and style, and maybe recasting a few actors including Butler. I love the man, but not in this role. There you have my ranking of the Dracula 2000 films. I can both equally praise and bash the first film, but I have no praise for its sequels. They were so unnecessary and just god-awful. I think I lost brain cells while I watched them, to be honest. But that's just me. If you have seen this trilogy, tell me how you would rank them, or just leave your thoughts on any of the films mentioned today that you have seen. Thank you as always to my kick-ass patrons. That's it for this video. Remember to be safe and courteous, and I hope to see you in my next video. So until then, bye!